Hello everyone, today we will continue to go through the PMP question bank. Next up is our 16th question. Question 16 is about a multidisciplinary project where the project manager is delegating some project management activities to several team members. What should our project manager do first? Everyone, pay attention to what should be done first. So in this case, actually, it's possible that many of the options are correct, but what we need to say is, which one is the most important? So here, what should be the project manager's top priority? Right? Before doing anything, it should be to clarify each team member's role and responsibilities in the project management activities, correct? So what does this involve? It involves, for example, in this case, the most important diagram is actually the one in our fourth option. Here, please pay attention to the diagram we have here. It looks like this. It's our RACI chart. So what is the main purpose of this chart? This chart actually, first of all, this diagram is a tool that can effectively achieve this goal. Now, as for the other options here, well, first of all, they are not the main or primary steps that a project manager should take. The main purpose of this chart is, first and foremost, to establish accountability. Approval, consultation, and being informed, these are the key points, these specific details. As for the items listed above, the first is to develop the project communication management plan and distribute it to the stakeholders. But actually, for this question, what are we trying to do? We want to clarify the role and responsibilities of each team member in project management. Here, actually, this falls under option A, which is a stakeholder issue, so it can't be chosen. Option B is to develop a mental guidance plan and include it in the project status report. But actually, this doesn't really have much to do with our specific project team members either. Although it involves developing the organizational breakdown structure and the work breakdown structure, well, this one seems kind of interesting, doesn't it? But there's an issue here. Developing the organizational breakdown structure and the work breakdown structure is very important for defining the project scope. It's mainly used to define the scope of the project. This is mainly a preliminary task, but it doesn't actually involve the issue of delegation within our project management activities. So here, first of all, everyone must first pay attention to the fact that before we officially begin execution, before delegation, because the question mentions that we are delegating some project management activities to several members, which means we are already about to start implementation. If you only begin analyzing the structure, the work breakdown, and so on at this stage, that's actually work that should have been done earlier. So for this question, what should we choose? That's right, we should choose option D, using diagrams to define who is responsible, who approves, who consults, and who is informed about these key aspects. It clarifies the role and responsibilities of each team member in project management activities. That was question 16. All right, next, let's look at question 17. In question 17, a team member has raised a concern, believing that some deliverables may not meet certain regulatory requirements. What should the project manager do in this situation? First of all right, here comes the conflict, here comes the problem, there may be a violation of the law. In this case, first of all, what do we need to ensure? During the execution of the project, we must make sure to avoid any actions that are illegal. Because if such an issue arises and you continue to push the project forward, the problem may become more and more serious. So first of all, what about our key stakeholders and subject matter experts? Actually, all of them. Provide relevant regulatory information that may impact the project. What should the project manager do? They should hold meetings with key stakeholders and subject matter experts to clarify any regulations that may affect the project's deliverables. As for the other options, actually, we should choose option A first, which is that we must first hold meetings with key stakeholders and subject matter experts. That way, we can identify any areas that might have potential issues. If we look at the options below, option B asks the client to provide some kind of authenticity letter, right, to confirm whether these regulations apply to the project. But the client may not necessarily understand this. As for option C, it suggests consulting the project management office. But actually, first of all, whether it's the client, the project management office, or even the team member's manager who raises concerns in option D, there's actually a common issue here, which is Because in fact, all of these are shifting the project manager's responsibility onto someone else. Normally, what do? For example, our project management office, right, is mainly there to provide information about compliance throughout the entire project lifecycle. However, it may not be able to cover everything. All of the specific deliverable regulations as a whole. So options B, C, and D actually have two main issues. First, they may not necessarily be clear about everything. And second, this already involves shirking responsibility. Because the main point here is the person ultimately responsible is still our project manager. So what should we choose here? We should choose option A, which is to seek out professionals to identify, handle, and resolve the issue. Bringing stakeholders along is mainly for what purpose? It's probably because there may be some issues related to roles here, so it's necessary to have key stakeholders present. That's it for this question. This is our question 17. All right, next let's look at question 18. For question 18, our project manager is managing an integrated project that involves both software and hardware development. This project has a Gantt chart approved by the client and also expects client involvement. Now, the software development team suggests using an agile approach for the project. As a manager, what should we do? Here, the question is about which method we should adopt to carry out the actual project development. First of all, as project managers, we should make sure to assess which method can continuously deliver the most business value. Here, let's first take a look at our four options. Option A is to assess which project can continuously deliver the most business value. The methodology, of course, is to use agile iterations to complete the project development within the specified timeframe. Option C suggests that the team strictly follow the Gantt chart approved by the client. The first item is to evaluate, together with the project management office, the client's role in the project. So here, first of all, what is the main focus of this project? It's mainly about issues related to hardware and software development. So here, first of all, we can see from the other options that for option B, adopting Agile might indeed bring benefits. There's no problem with that. At first glance, this option might seem fine, right? However, if Agile is adopted solely to meet the schedule without considering user expectations or hardware factors, then some issues may arise. So while option B is correct, it is not the best solution. In this case, client approval is very important, right? Client approval is certainly important, but if we completely follow the diagrams provided by the client to carry out development, it would lack some flexibility. Yes, it will lack flexibility. As for option D, although working directly with the project management company is certainly feasible and valuable, this option only focuses on the client's role and does not address the broader choice of project methodology. So for this question, we should choose option A, which is to select the project methodology that can continuously deliver the most business value. That is the most appropriate choice. This is our question 18. All right, next let's look at question 19. This question is about an ongoing agile construction project. Our project manager has received a notification. The local government has recently approved a new regulation that applies to all construction projects in the area. This is a revised, more stringent, and more sustainable regulation. So what is the main issue here? It's that a new regulation has been introduced. With the introduction of this new regulation, it may affect the project's materials, right? Or it could impact the implementation of processes related to sustainability. What actions should the project manager take to adapt to this newly implemented environmental parameter? The main issue here is the emergence of the new regulation. So, with the introduction of a new regulation, what is the best way for us to handle it? First of all, option A is to meet with the product owner to update the project plan to include the new sustainability requirement. At first glance, this doesn't seem to be a problem. By incorporating the new sustainability requirements here, the main goal is to ensure what? To ensure that the project complies with the latest legislative requirements. So, what does the law say? No matter what you do, the law must always come first. Even if what you're doing might be morally right. If there's a legal issue or maybe there wasn't a problem before, but now, after the law has been updated, right? Because this question is about a legal update after the law changes, your approach may become problematic and even illegal. In that case, it's essential to make timely corrections and adjustments to ensure compliance with the code requirements. So option A, there's no problem with it. Now, for option B, we can see that it involves organizing a team workshop to identify and evaluate solutions for sustainability requirements. That also seems fine, but when it comes to organizing a speech or presentation, it's actually not just a matter of one person participating, right? It's not just about one or two people. It could involve discussions among many team members. In this case, the first step our project manager should take definitely isn't to jump straight into a meeting. Because first we need to clarify something. We must clearly define the specific requirements and understand how this new regulation will impact the project. Only then can we continue to move the project forward according to the original plan, right? We can't just organize a workshop right away. As for option C, what it's suggesting is to proceed as originally planned, and that's absolutely not acceptable. Once a regulation is updated, you absolutely cannot proceed with the original plan. You must first discuss and confirm everything is in order before moving forward, so doing otherwise is definitely wrong. The first option is to postpone. That is, to request a delay from the project client. In this situation, that's actually possible, right? This is an option, but it's not a necessary one. Postponing is not a required choice, and requesting a delay might cause the client unnecessary anxiety, make them uneasy, or even lead to new issues. So this option also can be chosen directly. Alright, so for this question, we should choose option A, to meet with the product owner as soon as possible and quickly confirm the situation. Identify the problem, clarify it, and then resolve it. Okay, next let's look at question 20. For question 20 first, as project managers, we are currently at the ad site, working with the local team while the developers are at another remote location. The quality assessment personnel are at yet another remote location. So here, we are essentially split across 3 different sites. Now, the project manager has realized that due to these geographical issues, the team may experience delays in communication. So, what measures can the project manager take to mitigate this problem? Alright, so first of all, option A is to increase the number of daily stand-up meetings. Option B is to recruit new members locally. Option C is to create a fishbowl window. Option D is to streamline and reduce the team's communication needs by organizing the backlog. Alright, so here, first of all, option B. It must be wrong at first glance, right? There is no need to recruit new members. Here, option A seems to increase the number of battle positions per day, which is useful. For type B, by using a to-do list, we can also sort out the team's needs, which is fine as well. So options A and D both seem fine at first glance. However, when it comes to creating an information radiator window, this is something you need to pay attention to. As project managers, we can use a variety of tools to facilitate collaboration within our virtual and remote teams. The main thing is that for this question, it's about geographical location, right? The distribution is too dispersed, so what do we need? We need a virtual workspace. And what is a bathtub window? It is a means to alleviate communication delays. It is a long-term video link that remains open during working days. This allows members of a distributed team to see each other at any time and engage in spontaneous interactions, thereby reducing collaboration delays caused by geographical separation. As for the other options, first of all, either they cannot solve the problem of communication delays, right, or they are not feasible. Increasing the number of meetings does have some effect, but it may also add to the burden of meetings and cannot fundamentally resolve the issue of communication delays. If you have more meetings, you'll have less time to actually deal with problems, right? When new issues arise, you still have to wait until the next meeting. So in this case, it's actually not timely. And as for recruiting locally, obviously that will require extra money. And besides, it's not something that can be implemented immediately. As for the last method, handling things through a to-do list, it is indeed useful, right? It helps improve work efficiency. However, the issue of communication delays still can't really be solved. So while this method can be used in a targeted way, it doesn't offer much help for the requirements of this particular question. That wraps up our 20th question. If you need a complete question bank, you can leave a comment below to get the most reliable question bank at the best price. That's all for today. Goodbye, everyone.